What's going on, everybody? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to remove your exhaust system. And you're asking, why would I ever want to remove my exhaust system? Well, you're going to have to subscribe so that you don't miss the next video, and then you'll see why you want to remove your exhaust system. All right, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to take a ride under the car, and it is definitely going to be better than Disneyland. So sit back and enjoy the ride. All right, so as you can see, all of this magnificent German engineering at work here. Lots of hours in the developing room designing the most efficient OEM exhaust for the S Class. As you can see there, it is just state of the art, ahead of its time. And now we're going to get into how to remove this thing. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is remove these 4 bolts. And they're connected to these floating flanges. They're not welded. And you also want to install the bolts facing the rear of the car. So remember, when you reinstall these bolts, you want those bolts facing toward the rear of the car. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a 12 millimeter wrench and a 13 millimeter socket, and you can use either one. You can either use a 13 millimeter wrench and a 12 millimeter socket. Either way works. I just decided to use a 13 millimeter socket and a 12 millimeter wrench. Ratcheting wrenches are preferred, so that's just something to keep in mind, but it is not going to slow anything down if you do not have ratcheting wrenches. Now, as you can see that once everything is loose, that those floating flanges can be rotated and twisted. This is important because when you reinstall the flanges, you can actually position them in a way where gaining access to the bolts is more easier. So that's something to keep in mind. So then we'll just go ahead and remove both of our bolts, or actually all 4. And then you'll see in the middle, once you separate the flanges, that there's a gasket in the middle right there. So there's your gasket. When you are separating the exhaust, be careful because that can fall in your face. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so now we're moving forward in our underground, under the car ride here, our total Mercedes experience. And so now where we're going is to the middle of the car to remove the exhaust hanger. And you'll see that this is the hanger right here. We're approaching the exhaust hanger, and that's what we're going to remove. And we're just going to take some WD-40. WD-40 does the trick. Some people might say that WD-40 degrades rubber, but I've used it and it's been okay. So you can also use soap and water if you feel more comfortable. It'll be just fine. And so you want to use a pry bar and just kind of wedge it between the exhaust and the hanger, and then go ahead and fold that hanger up just like that. German engineering at its finest right there. And so from there, we're now going to go back, because sometimes you have to go backwards to go forward in life. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove those gaskets. So this gasket actually fits on this end of the pipe, and then the 2 flares on the other end will be the ring gasket, which is in the left hand, or on the left. That's going to be the gasket closest to you. So now we're going to move on to the racing strut brace right here. This is the S Class's racing strut brace for DTM, because secretly Mercedes S Class owners are all ex-DTM drivers, whether they realize it or not. So we're going to go ahead and remove this strut brace, but there's a trick to this. We're only going to remove 3 out of the 4 bolts. So we're going to keep that bolt in place, but we're going to loosen it so that we can rotate the racing strut brace off to the side, just like that, because we don't need to remove it. And if you don't know what DTM is, then you should. So next, what we're going to do is get our jack stand here, and we're going to set it up so that we can drop our exhaust system onto the jack stand like that. And this is going to help for when we remove the rear end of the exhaust system. So now we're moving on past our exhaust hanger that we removed earlier, and we're going into the end part, the muffler part of our exhaust system, which is, I guess you could say, the tailpipe. And so there it is. That's the nice tailpipe to keep your neighbors from calling the police on you every time you come home from work at midnight. So what we're going to do is spray some more WD-40 and then just slide these exhaust hangers off. And it's just a straight tube, so they're a lot easier to remove than the middle hangers. You don't need a pry bar. And thought I'd show you guys how to do this in the daylight. So pretty much we're just going to kind of just push those off. And then it's nice if you have some dollies lying around, because then you can just sit the exhaust system on the dolly like that. It just makes life a lot easier. But definitely you can use cardboard or a piece of wood, plywood. And then now we're just going to do the same thing to the other side, and we're going to lower it just like that. And now we're going to go back under the car and remove our jack stand, grab our exhaust, and just slide it on out just like that. And there you have it, folks. Now you can remove a Mercedes exhaust from your car without having to use some hacksaw to cut it up or even dismantle it from other flanges. So this is the easiest way to remove your Mercedes Benz exhaust system from the car. And now we can install the aftermarket exhaust system, which you'll see in another video. So there it is, all of the tight bends and restrictive bends and noise reducing mufflers that makes your Mercedes so quiet. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See ya. Oh, you're still here? Okay, see ya.